folks, welcome back to another video with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this little guy right here, The Gate. It is another game in the same universe as The Dome from Hope S. Hwang, and it's in the same kind of universe where you're using the same characters, kind of the same theme, where you're hacking servers and looking for openings and that type of thing to take down the nasty corporation or what have you. I guess I might be reading a little bit too much into that, but you get the idea. Let's take a look at it. Let's get down to the table. In a game of The Gate, the whole purpose of the game is to either score 7 points of damage on your opponent's gates, or to close 2 of their gates. You're looking for entry points into the other person's server in order to hack it, tear down their organization, whatever. But you're simply trying to either score 7 points of damage or shut down 2 of their gates. If you're able to do that, you've won. But let me show you how to do that. Now, on your turn, you're basically going to be taking or trying to summon these cards into your discard pile so that when your draw pile is depleted, you're going to be able to draw them back in. It's a deck building game, very similar to something like a Dominion or something to that effect, where when you have your hand of cards, you're going to want to use as many of them as possible. Once you use them, they go into your discard pile as well as any other cards that you have summoned using the terminology for this game, and then you draw a new hand of cards from your draw deck, and then on your next turn you use as many of those, and so forth and so on. When the draw deck is depleted, your discard pile is shuffled and you draw a new hand. You're going to be using your cards for an attack value. They also have defense value, and then they also have, some of them have a action or a special ability that each card can do. For example, this yellow dragon here, whenever you summon him, instead of going to your discard pile, he goes to the top of your your draw deck. Here, if you're attacking with backtrack over here, she has a link ability, which means that if you turn over the top card of your draw pile and it matches her character, then you can make your opponent discard a card. Some of the cards in your deck have enhancements. Enhancements are at the bottom of the cards here. For example, this adds 1 to your gates level. So each gate has a level 2 like this, but if you play a card like this as an enhancement, it will raise the level of your gate, which means that it's more difficult to attack that gate. Other ones have attack enhancements, which you can use on your characters during an attack. Some of them also have defensive enhancements, which you can play onto one of your guardians that you have out here. So on your turn, the first player only has 3 cards to work with. 2 cards from the top of the deck, and then a summoner card, so that you are assured to get 1 summoner on the first turn. It would be pretty bad if you weren't able to get somebody in your deck and start building your deck on the first turn. So you have any number of actions that you can do. You want to try to play as many cards from your hand as possible. The things that you can do is you can play a guardian face down here. So one of these guys can be played as a guardian, which adds to the defense value of your gate. You can also play actions from the card. For example, the summoners allow you to discard one of the cards in your hand, and then that character is brought into your discard pile as you start building the deck. First turn here, I'm going to definitely play the summoner, and I'm going to discard this guy. Actually, we're going to discard this guy in order to put one of the Jerry Netbus guys into my deck, and then I'm going to use him as a guardian. At the end of my turn, I would draw back up to a full complement of 6 cards, and then it would be my opponent's turn. It comes back to me, and I'm able to take my 6 cards and use them however I see fit. So I'm going to definitely play these summoners. I'm going to play 1 summoner to discard him, which summons him to the top of my deck because of his special ability. After summoned, Yellow Dragon is placed on the top of my deck. So that would go right over there like that. And then the second one here, I'm going to discard another Jerry Netbus. Now I draw back up 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I have to shuffle. And 5, 6. Now it's my opponent's turn. They would take their turn, and now it comes back to me. And now I'm going to try and do something better here. All right, so I'm going to definitely play the Summoner card, and we're going to, don't really have that much of a fighting capability, so we're definitely going to use this guy to right underneath this. Now we're placing this as an enhancement. You can only place one enhancement per turn, so he is upping the level of my gate. So now people will have to attack this at a 5 or higher because I'm a level 3 plus 1, 4. Now another thing that you can do is you can exchange a Guardian that's already down here and put him into your hand and take one of your cards that are here and put him down. So we're going to take this guy back up to our hand, and we're going to take this level 2, which has a stronger defense, and put him face down. Take this one and place it face down here, just for defense. And then the rest of them are just discarded. I draw back up to 6, and that's how the game plays. One player, next player. One player, next player. Okay, so the way an attack works is anytime during your turn, you can launch an attack on one of your opponent's gates. But a gate can only be attacked once per round, so you can't attack the same gate twice in a row. You can choose which gate you want to attack. So you normally you want to go for the one that is the weakest, and right now it looks like possibly this one over here or this one. One of these three is the weakest because this one is already a level of 3 plus 1, it's 4 plus whatever this Guardian is. So I need to be very careful with attacking that one. Over here I'm going to go ahead and attack here, and you simply show which ones you're attacking with. So you're going to attack with, I'm going to attack with these two cards, which is 2, 4, and then plus 1, here's 5. It's worthy of note here that you can only use 3 cards to attack, and you can only use cards that have attack symbols on them. So I'm attacking with a 5, so at this point this Guardian is revealed, and so it's a 1 defense plus a 2 level, so that's a 3 defense altogether. My 5 is over her 3, so a damage token is placed on that gate. Now the way that a gate closes is if the number of damage cubes is ever equal to or greater than the level of the gate, not including the defense value here, just this level 2 here, then that gate is closed and it can no longer be used. And that's how the game goes. It's a very simple, basic deck building game where you're trying to attack the other player to deal out 7 damage or close 2 gates. And that's it. Now, this is not a bad game. I do enjoy deck builders sometimes, although some deck builders, Dominion, have, in my opinion at least, overstayed their welcome and they've gotten too big for their britches. Now, that's just my opinion. I know that, plus about $1.50 will get you a cup of coffee somewhere. But you get the idea. I'm not huge on deck builders, but I don't hate them either. This deck builder isn't that bad. The main problem that I had with this game were the rules. They were a bear to get through because they were not translated well, I think. If you look at this is the second thing I have a problem with. This is the playmat that you're supposed to be putting your cards on as you're playing the game. Not bad, that's cool that they're included, except that the rules are on the other side of the playmats. And that's not all. There's 2 playmats in the game. Half the rules are on one, half the rules are on the other. Not a good idea, especially when you're trying to learn how to play a game. Now, with that having been said, once we had the rules down, which for us involved taking a picture of the rules with our phones so that we did not have to turn them over, that is a fix. So once we had the rules down, the game did play very well. We got about halfway through our first turn and we were like, oh, it's a deck builder. Oh, okay. All right. And once we understood that, everything else kind of clicked. Oh, okay. I'm summoning things to put into my deck to use later on. Oh, it became so much clearer. Just that one hyphenated word, deck builder, would have been helpful in the rules somewhere, and I just didn't, either I didn't see it or it simply was not there. Again, this is not going to be on the same level as Dominion, but it has the very same mechanism of taking cards from a specialized pool, not a common pool, because your characters are different than your opponent's characters, and they do come with suggestions on which deck should include which characters first. But then after that, you can mix and match. It doesn't really matter at that point. Find different combinations that might work well with the other ones. I do think that there was some decent choices in the game. Some combinations of defense with the level of the gates seem to be insurmountable, but with some not really lucky even. Some of those link powers where you have to turn over a card from the top of your deck to see if your special action fires, those can actually be orchestrated to where you know that card is there and you know it's going to happen. Other times it feels like a just a random card flip, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I will say that I enjoyed this game better than the Dome. So if you've seen my review of the Dome, that might have a little bit of contextual value to it. I liked this game for its simplicity, and it has a neat theme on it. I like how the theme from the Dome carried over into this, still had the same feeling to it, but this used the theme a little bit better, I thought. Now, with all that having been said, I do want to say that I enjoyed the game, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And the reason I give it a 6 out of 10 is I think it's a little bit better than your average, meh, okay, yeah, it's a game. I did enjoy it. I did catch on to it pretty quickly after that first round, and the mechanisms all seemed to kind of really flow together. The actions made sense. The special abilities made sense. All of that stuff worked together for an enjoyable experience. It's just not one that I'm going to want to play all the time. Now, I think there might be a lot more people out there that will just jump at a game like this. The problem is that it's very small, and there isn't a whole lot of options to it. The only replayability that comes into it is switching up which characters are on which team and using those different combinations, and some might be inferior combinations to others, but you get the idea that the downside here is that there's not a lot of replayability in this little box. If it gets picked up by a bigger publisher maybe, and more characters get added, more cards get added, I can see this being a fairly neat game that a lot of people will really jump onto. But as it stands right now, just a 6, and we'll see what happens in the future. Anyway, that's The Gate. See you on the flip side, folks.